One day, one day, one day, I hope you'll see the truth. This puppet show, it stays on because of the fools. There ain't no need to call anyone a fool until we see what it really means. The Fool is about new beginnings, and there is an upright and an inversed meaning, which is very relevant to tomorrow, too. So, what I'm going to do is say the tarot will play a big role in the bigger picture, but not today's. So will my book. If you have not yet got Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, I would love for you to get your hands on a copy. It's at Chapters Indigo, as well as Amazon, and I even recorded the audio program last year for it. So you can listen to me tell the story for 7.5 hours and 4 minutes. So that would be a blessing for me, and I appreciate your support. If you would like some physical copies of the book for yourself and any friends that you would like to also understand the legal fiction, the bigger picture, and also my BS belief systems that you can take, you can leave, you can do with what you need, but ultimately, I just ask you to make an informed decision. For you will be formed one way or another. And so that is when we see the substance is what will be formed, or we can actually decide how we're going to creatively express that which we have within the vessel that transports us through this world. Which brings me to the blog that I needed to read, and it's lengthy, not as much so as what yesterday's is, though. But that is going to wait to be shared until after this one, because I will be sending it directly to those who are subscribed to ljeh.ca. My website is where you are able to receive direct communication from me. Laura J is my name, of the family Hamilton. However, I no longer choose to use the cognomen that would bind me to a fictitious society I don't pay dues to and no longer wish to belong to. However, that isn't to say I don't also want to be able to play nicely with those in my midst, because I do believe that's what we need to be able to do as we shift out of a system that has been fixed or rigged in favor of the house that is corrupted, which is Caesar's. We're going to get into that deeper tomorrow. Instead of going with the corruption any longer just because that's always how it's been, so it must just be the way that it must continue, I say, nay, let's pull those reins in, lest the corporate umbrella of liability protection, the false illusion of it, gets removed for when the gnosis that is off of us, which is how you spell ghost, host and gnosis together, combined to see the gnosis of the mind, gnosis being the spiritual mysteries. All of this I did write in this blog, so I'm going to get right to it, and I appreciate you for tuning in. 4 minutes in. Let's see how long it takes then. On Sunday, January 22nd, tomorrow, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to tell a story about the Justinian connection. I've pieced together using Romley Stewart and Rowan Lorian's research into the Justinian deception and additional connections that we all stand to benefit from exercising once evil has been exorcised. Exorcism, the expulsion or attempted expulsion of a supposed evil spirit from a person or place. Woohoo! I'm going to just get some Palo Santo going, because this is interesting. Saying, knowing how Many are attached to the way things have been, which is to say that we must do it anyway. When we see that evil is lived backwards, literally and figuratively, we will begin to see how the current state of affairs globally are part of an attempted corporatocratic takeover by an unseen entity we mistakenly grew to trust over time and are now being called to expose. Expose. Make something visible by uncovering it. Reveal the true, objectionable nature of someone or something. This means we are going to venture down rabbit holes that lead to the foxhole, and choosing to be offended by the fact religion has been a major ally to the evil that is currently at play is a choice. We live with the consequences of the choices we make, and in an energetic reality, we have to realize with real eyes that the notion of karma reflects the continuous nature of the energy that we are, which will change forms throughout our lives without remembering the nuances of each stage unless something jarring stands out to hold part of our energy in that memory. Written texts are the accounts of people who lived through or imagined things that are described in descriptive language designed to paint a picture we can imagine so that we bring it to life in our minds. What an untrained eye won't see when reading words strung together to create whole pictures and scenes for us to have seen and share our account of after the fact is that dogma is our shared cultural belief. Is that dogma is our shared cultural beliefs supporting the contribution of the reinforcements of things being done just so in a certain way. Let me read that one again. What an untrained eye won't see when reading words strung together to create the whole pictures and scenes for us to have seen and share our account of after the fact is that dogma is our shared cultural belief supporting the contribution of the reinforcement of things being done just so or in a certain way. Tradition. That's tradition, they would say. But who is they? We're supposed to know our enemy. Belief systems will thus be referred to as BS throughout this post because I am the woman commonly known as Laura J. of the family Hamilton, who believes I have the right to share my BS about the grammatical deception that a man named Justinian I initiated during his tyrannical rule of the Roman Empire at an uncertain time in our shared story due to the differing systems used to measure time, which is an illusion anyway, is it not? In researching information I've been intuitively and situationally called to investigate, exercise, and exercise, I have discovered the Justinian connection that connects us all through a shared storyline most people are not aware of. In accordance with the heartless nature of a corpse orating edicts, mandates, and fiats, is it any wonder that one of the maxims of law is it is immaterial whether a man gives his assent by words or by acts and deeds. It is immaterial whether a man gives his assent by words or by acts and deeds, which means that if we act the part, we indeed are it. Bastards. Not. Okay. My humanly self, which is just but the hue of me, says that, and the rest of me says, nay, nay, Laura. Just kidding. But seriously, we all have many aspects of ourselves. Multiple personality disorder, that is multiple different energies in motion that all show up on the stage of us wanting a turn to speak. And it's just like, holy shit, how do I manage all of this? All of these different aspects of selves coming back into the now from that time we left them in before. And now suddenly we've activated that and they're back. It's mental disorder is out of the heart, not grounded. and also not ever having had space likely to feel safe enough to express that which is now being expressed but was before impressed, which is I'm pressed, which is why we've been pressed. And let me carry on. We've all been told that it's just the way things are for most of our lives, and many have become jaded because of it, compelled to fall into line the way we've been raised and trained to do, feeling helpless to change the bigger picture because we feel we're only a cog in a big, well oiled machine that will carry on without us when we die because we're all replaceable, we've been taught. But that is not the case when we consider that the corporate entity we have become cogs in the wheel of can only move by the actions of those working on its behalf in exchange for payment for your team, which is comprised of your time, energy, effort, attention, and money. What I realized when I came to a new level of awareness energetically in 2019 during what was deemed a psychotic episode where my perception of energetic patterns was so exciting to me that I wanted to share it all with people who couldn't see or sense what I did. I wasn't wrong. I just wasn't grounded, and an ungrounded power line is a dangerous proposition for those around it. And at the time, I unconsciously knew it, so had intentionally activated as many people as I could think to connect with. It just freaked a lot of people out and changed the opinions and changed their opinions of me because I stopped being a safe and reliable source of familiarity for them. And as much as we love some surprises sometimes, few like the experience of having our trust broken. The insane part is that our trust already has been broken by the very parental figures we have unconsciously had governing the parental figures who have been the custodians of us in the 21 years leading up to the age of majority when we are eligible to reclaim our trust as the beneficiaries of the trust account that was established in your name when your soul incarnated into a physical vessel somewhere on the planet we call home. This is where the simulation theory comes into play, and we see that we are playing the ultimate video game with our lives in a reality where the creator owns the creation, which means we love creating things, especially hidden things that we can share with only those who we want to know too. We love sharing things privately with special people because it gives us special stories we can't tell. It gives because it gives us special stories we can tell one another to lull us to sleep or spark our excitement, depending on the mood and what we're feeling in the moment we are in, which is where all life happens. Now is a crucial time in our shared story because we have dogged characters trying to reorder the letters of the alphabet we use to spell our words into the new world order that is part of a one world order led by heartless entities called corporations that seek to control, harm, destroy, dominate, and use like is best like is best portrayed by the original Avatar movie. We have to realize that the higher we go in awareness, the further we are able to see energetically, and the now is an incredibly magical place to be, especially when we learn how to wield our words wisely, the way I intend to help you be able to do in the new orderly world this story is a foundational piece in. I don't say that because I'm writing the story. I say that because I've lived an incredible life so far that has afforded me the luxury of living aligned to my values of supporting those who were most loyal and loving to me throughout my life, my grandparents, while pursuing a spiritual understanding of the world as a mystic without a monastery for the majority of my life. I write this story because I am born in the year of the rabbit by Chinese astrology, and I believe that I've been called to challenge the box of convention, tradition, and capacity, because I am the one I was waiting for, and it wouldn't be on my heart to do if I didn't have the capacity to do it. And so I set out on the path like a fool. Last year, when my person was summoned for an offense I don't believe happened, but I was called to stand my ground and learn how to wear the crown of my own corona so that I can be the one others write about in the story of the times we are now creating. I do not believe I am special in this claim of specialness either, for I believe we all came here to lay claim to the energetic resources required to bring about our heart's desires, and I believe that there is no limitation in supply but only the conduit through which the supply is delivered and to whom demands it. which is where I dare to share that I believe myself to only be limited by the limitations I am willing to accept or consent to, and I am now calling you to accept this reality of greatness for yourself, too. In the words of Marianne Williamson's poem Our Deepest Fear, which I am grateful I got permission to use in my book, Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, on page 186, it is not our darkness that most frightens us. It is our light. As Canada's Parliamentary Council have declared that legalized infanticide using the medical assistance in dying maid service that propose sacrificing infants with disabilities is okay. This came as I was literally writing this. Somebody sent me that email. As Canada's Parliamentary Council have declared that legalized infanticide using the medical assistance in dying maid service that proposes sacrificing infants with disabilities is okay, we've got to see how capitis de minutio plays into the converting of us all into irresponsible minors. This was yet another test that those acting in positions of power have failed miserably for the benefit of what? For what is the point of gaining the world while losing your soul in the process? Let us stop the madness where we are and rise above it together. So many will have to pay. We all have to pay for our choices. So, as much as you might think, I'm about to go, oh, here we go. Oh, that was interesting. This is when we change anything. As much as you might think I'm about to get on a pro-life soapbox, I want to let you in on the open secret that those in the know aren't allowed to let any of us who aren't in on. And it has to do with the conversion game that the Roman Empire has deceptively maintained power using under different guises, which are the logos of logic related to that particular school of thoughts, BS. It is time for us to open our eyes to see that the characters we've been taught about and the characters we've not been taught about have overlapping aspects that cannot be accounted for by the accounts written to date by ones who were not alive at the same time as the ones who lived were, allegedly used to convey that something is claimed to be the cause. Oh, no, sorry, not cause, it's case. But the cause has you in it, right? Allegedly used to convey that something is claimed to be the case or have taken place, although there is no proof, allegedly. Being as time is not the linear construct that we have been taught and trained to believe based on the tribe we were raised and poured into by, we have to consider the heartbreaking potential hypothesis that the man known as Justinian I, who founded the inbuilt deception our whole legal system is based on, is also the same man titled Augustus Caesar, who was the great nephew of Julius Caesar, who I have come to believe was Justinian's uncle Justin I. That is because Julius and Caesar were titles appointed to the man known as Justinian. Oh no, Justin I. Justin I, yeah, not Justinian. Justinian was Augustus Caesar, but Justin the first was Julius Caesar, who opened the door for Justinian to take over. Caesar is a title derived from the cognomen of Roman dictator Julius Caesar. It was changed from being a familial name to a title adopted by the Roman emperors around 68 AD, following the alleged fall of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. A Roman dictator was described as an extraordinary magistrate in the Roman Republic, endowed with full authority to resolve some specific problem to which he had been assigned. He received the full powers of the state, subordinating the other magistrates, councils included, for the specific purpose of resolving that issue and the issue only, and then dispensing with those powers forthwith. So it is only when a case is open that the magistrate was to have any power, which is similar to the role of magistrates within the legal fiction who act in administrative courts to move paperwork across tables like cards, chips, or icons in a game, transferring power between departments without identifying with the real man or woman on the other side of that paperwork. They do to afford the life they have with their loved ones outside the private quarters of the business housing the entity and its property, which as an employee you are proper to it, for it has claimed you in the matrix where the creator owns the creation. This is why we've got to see the proper T is lowercase in proper T, because it allows the letter T to remain open to flow inwards from upwards without interference energetically, just as the lowercase I keeps its head about it compared to when boxed in top and bottom as when we capitalize the I. Freud's work around the id, ego, and superego comes to mind because it reflects the collective consciousness that believe the lie hook, line, and sinker in the ultimate cat and mouse game, also known as the David and Goliath story. Each of us are represented by the character of David in the ring of our own life, and which is our toroidal field. And keeping the corporate entities, logos, that have been feeding off of our identities alive is the goal of Goliath's character, who represents a kingdom ruled by a small man who chose his best player to face off with David. When my person was issued paperwork I did not consent to receiving from a man claiming to just be delivering paperwork, regarding an alleged offense I believe I was wrongly accused of, when I claim I caused no offense by what I said and actively tried to resolve the matter privately, using more than 20 notices that went unresponded to, as well as a claim that may not have been filed as it was meant to, which incriminates another woman acting within the court whose public duty is to perform the duty my lawful notice tasked her with. Which takes me back to the role of the magistrate and why we must be willing to believe the words Jesus allegedly said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, John 14:6. Romley Stewart and Rowan Lorian have helped me see how the reference of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit reflects the perversion of belief systems that teach children they need a middleman to connect with their Creator. That's BS, and I don't know how many lifetimes my player, Avatar, has come back to this plane of consciousness to say this and be burned at the stake for it. But I will not go down without helping my people understand the cross is a fictional illusion that was designed to capitalize on your ignorance and naivete, to believe in the gnosis of the ghosts feeding off of the hosts of fear. Through fear. It's why Monsters Inc. is what it is. Gnosis is knowledge of spiritual mysteries and stems from gnosis, for knowledge, or someone said to be an avid learner. I believe I've come to do my part to expose the Justinian connection between the Bible and the symbolic stage player leading the de facto usufruct unidroit corporate powers that allegedly can direct self-governing natives of the lands it has infiltrated all the systems of. Justinian I, also titled Augustus Caesar, is the founding father of the greatest deception of all time. And in this post, I am going to lay out the discoveries, no, not today, and in tomorrow's call. There we go, at 8:30 p.m. I hope you're going to be there. It's going to be intense. Just wait. Don't wait. Do your own research if you wish to, but your time is precious, so I'm going to get back to it. And in tomorrow's call, I'm going to lay out the discoveries I have made by connecting the characters as the dots help us do when we better understand the bigger picture and who fits where within it. Let's start by getting clear about the elements of a name generally before we get into the specifics later on. Our first name is referred to as our nomen. My nomen is Laura. Middle names we sometimes use, but that are part of our full name in our own mind and natal chart, are called pronomen, Jean Ellen are mine. And our legal family name is known as our cognomen or surname because it is where the real part of our name bonds with the legal fiction of ownership being operated by one of the greatest covert human trafficking, slavery, racketeering, and general destruction of life operations that have been constructed since the last time we tipped the scales of power and the earth rebalanced herself. That is precisely what we are now going to do using the true game theory. I am laying out and coming and coining, not coming. Okay, that is precisely what we are now going to do using the true game theory. I am laying out and coining just in the nick of now, a play on nick of time, coining a play on the fiat currencies that have converted something that was backed by value into that which is no longer. For a fiat is a pronunciation or proclamation by a nation state, and we have it as our money system. It's going to rock your socks, so get your shoes off so you can ground outdoors while you read this, or at least get inspired to try doing so without walking on soles. We weren't making the soul connection too while wearing a barrier between us and the heartbeat of the mother that naturally regulates us if we'll let her. I can help you with the energetic component of getting grounded and back in your body another time, but first I want your vessel to remain safe, which is what I hope this tale helps you put into perspective with awareness of the discomfort that arises as you go through it. Transformation is not for the faint-hearted, but life wasn't easy to get to in the first place. We just forgot that fight. We already wanted to be here. Now that we did, we need to play our part by sharing the heart song within. Before you begin, I would recommend you get a physical journal. You can take notes in because with the way domain names change within the virtual domain or reality system, it's a good idea to make notes about what stands out to you so that when people ask why you sent them something, you have a summary to reference that also references you in the process, or that also refreshes you in the process of filling them in. Tomorrow, I will share the details of the storyline I am still piecing together at 8:30 Eastern PM, not AM. On a call I'm calling the Justinian Connection, and I want to tie the big picture together in a legible way that helps us consciously reach the tipping point in collective consciousness that will ultimately expose the metaphoric wizard behind all the screens we've been idling our eyes on while we idolize the ones who've worked their way to the place where movies are made and people are hired to play the featured roles. Elephants are ate one bite at a time, as crude as the expression goes, and so it is that I will leave you with a video I hope is compelling to you in advance of what we'll cover on tomorrow's call. With love and respect, Laura J. Namaste. Ha ha. I'm over there on that screen, so looking here means I am not actually looking at you, though I am, so I guess I'm just not looking at me. And it's all based on where the screen is. So now that you have seen all of this, I wonder what it means to you, what it means for you, and what you're going to do with it. I am going to share this blog to my website, ljeh.ca, which I shared in the comments. So make sure you go there, subscribe to the emails so that you get the code before tomorrow's call. And please do know that you matter. You have a heart song that only you can bring here with you. The graveyard is said to be the richest place in the world because it is where more people have died without actually capitalizing on the trust that we all were born natives to the land in order to benefit from that which we are here to protect and not just stand on, but stand with. For she is the heartbeat we can use to self regulate ourselves back into the present now moment where all power exists. So, with that, I will shift and simply say thank you for rifting with me. Thank you for not just randomly drifting through life as if you don't matter, for you do. And it is true that it will require you do something with your life, with your team, your time, energy, effort, attention, and money. It requires you make investments that are going to pay you dividends instead of make you divide the ends and fry some of them too. So, with that, I'll say thank you, namaste, namago for today.